much, Rav Dovi, for such a warm and generous introduction. It's such an honor to be here, and such a joy and such a delight. I must tell you, I can't take credit for that quick RSVP. That is my Rebbitzin. She was on the case, but she told me immediately we got the invitation. We were so excited. But she makes sure that all the important things in our home get done, and so it's such a joy to be here. And Rav Dovi, to you and your incredible team who run this remarkable organization called Achim, who are making brothers of the youth of our community, we all pay tribute to you and are so grateful to you. We have Hakoras Hatov on behalf of our community, because to come here tonight and to see more than 40 Messiahim of the Masechta, and to see the joy and the Kavod Torah and the excitement for it, and the joy of what it means, is something which is the greatest gift, because it is such a good news story for the future of our community. And so we say to you, Rav Dovi, and to your entire team, all of you, thank you so much. And words cannot thank you enough for what you are doing for our community. The future of our community is in your hands. And friends, you know, that's, to me, when walking into this hall tonight and seeing how everything is so beautifully laid out, the tremendous dignity and the royalty of the occasion, is because this is an event which is dedicated to the Kesed Torah, to the crown of Torah. But more importantly, to walk into such an event and then to see at the main table of all of the Messiah is something, as I walked in, it took my breath away. I was astonished, because I knew that we were coming here in honor of the siyum which were being made, but to see, firstly, as the main table, our Messiahim, our guests of honor, and to look at these young boys and to realize what they have achieved to Messiah Masechta, and to learn it with chazoras and to know the Masechta. It's not just a matter of going through the dapim, but to actually know the Masechta and to enjoy their learning and to be so excited. So that to me is the best news that this community has had in years, to see these beautiful boys, and we pay tribute to you. You know, and I know that, you know, people say, what is the future of the community? Where will we be? Where's it going? Well, I can tell you, anybody who wants to know about the vibrant future of the South African Jewish community just has to walk into this hall tonight and see these boys. And if your heart is not filled with pride and confidence in the future of Torah and the learning of Torah, is something which raises our spirits and gives us all so much inspiration. So boys, thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for the Kavod Torah, the Kesed Torah that you have put so proudly on the heads of our community. Yeshar Koach to all of you. And I want to pay tribute as well to your Rabbeim. I believe the Rabbeim that have taught, I think, all of these boys, Rav Aaron Burke, Rav Dan Matarano, Rav Yisrael Brown, Yeshar Koach. Because boys who learn and complete a Masechta, they need great Rebbeim who will inspire them with the Simchas HaTorah. And friends, that is what we are celebrating here tonight. We are celebrating Simchas HaTorah, the Vhaarev program, and allow me on behalf of all of us to thank on behalf of our community, Rav David Newman, for this remarkable program. Thank you for coming so far to our community, but more importantly, sharing this way of learning Torah with Mesikus, with a sense of Mesukim Midvash. That is the greatest gift, because learning Torah is not just about the learning, it is about the enjoyment of it and the celebration of the Simchas HaTorah. Words cannot say enough. Thank you so much, Rav David. And allow me to share with you a very personal story. about the concept of Vhaarev now, because that is what we are celebrating tonight. It's a story that I heard from my late Rosh Hashiva, Rav Azriel Chaim Goldstein Zatzal, that he heard from his Rabbi, Rav Mordechai Gifter of blessed memory, that Rav Gifter was with his Rabbi in Lita, Rav Avram Yitzchak Bloch, tells the Rosh Hashiva, who was murdered by the Nazis, Hashem Yakim as Dama, and they were walking together. Rav Gifter was a Talmud, and they were walking one day, and in their conversation, this is what I heard from my Rabbi, in their conversation, the Telzer Rav said to Rav Gifter, he said, he's worried that he's not learning Torah Lishma. Why? Because it's such a geschmack. It is so enjoyable that maybe he's learning it not for the sake of the mitzvah, but because he's really enjoying it. And Rav Gifter answered him and he said, Efsher, this is the Lishma. This is the ultimate level of Lishma, is to enjoy the Torah learning. And my Rosh Hashiva Zatzal told us over the story, and he said it in the context of explaining how learning Torah is different from any other mitzvah. Any other mitzvah that we have, there's the mitzvah itself, and then there's a milah to do the mitzvah to simcha. So you take tefillin, lulav, there's a mitzvahs to do, and then on top of that, you should do the mitzvah also with joy and enjoy it. And that's an extra milah. When it comes to learning of Torah, the enjoyment of the learning is not just an extra mile, it's just an extra thing to do, that you have the learning, and then above that you have the Simchas HaTorah, which is an extra mile. No, it's actually part of the gather of the learning itself. And he brought that from Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky Zatzal. Rabbi Yaakov brought it on the Mishnah Pirkei that says, Haveshoy says, Vhaarev and Samech, drink their words with thirst. And it says Rabbi Yaakov, when the marshal that the Mishnah is giving is to the concept of drinking water. And learning Torah is like drinking water. In the same way that a person physically cannot survive without drinking water, a person spiritually, a Jew cannot spiritually survive without learning Torah. But Rabbi Yaakov says you can drink water because it's healthy. And that you've got to get through a certain minimum number of glasses of water in the day. Because that's what the doctors say, the body needs certain amounts of fluids. You can drink the water, it can be a cold winter's day, and you're having another glass of water because that is what is good and healthy for the body. Or you can drink the water because it's a hot day, and you are so thirsty that you have to drink, and then it's quenching your thirst. And says Rabbi Yaakov, one can learn Torah in the same way. A person can learn Torah and say, listen, I have to learn Torah because I have to. This is the mitzvah. This is the mitzvah of a Jew. A Jew cannot survive without the learning of Torah, so I will do it because this is my mitzvah. Or a person can learn Torah because they are so thirsty for the Dvar Hashem, where there's a sense of the joy and the pleasure and the sweetness of the learning. And the Mishnah says, "Haveshoyset divrei betzomeh," drink their words with thirst. It should be water, but it should be drunk with thirst. And you know where Rabbi Yaakov brings the raya for this? Rabbi Yaakov brings the raya from the bracha Vhaarev, that now, because Vhaarev is the nusach of Chazal, and says Rabbi Yaakov, you see from the Gemara in Shabbos, when the Gemara in Shabbos is trying to define the mitzvah of Hanukkah candles, and it has a shaila hanocha is a mitzvah, adlocha is a mitzvah, says the Gemara, it says lahadlik ner shel Hanukkah, hadlocha is a mitzvah. You see that the Gemara is medayek the definition of the mitzvah from the nusach of the bracha, from the formula of the bracha of Chazal, of our sages. And so says Rabbi Yaakov, if Chazal made a nusach, made the formula for the Birkas HaTorah Vhaarev, that means that the sweetness of learning Torah is not just a vort, it's not just an extra mile, it's not just a nice to have, it's actually part of the very definition of the mitzvah, that it is part of it. And what my Rosh Hashiva Zatzal brought is that this has a halacha l'maaseh. This is, you see, it's important to understand here. It's not that there's a vort, it's a nice thing to have. It's actually part of the Ger HaMitzvah. And he brought the following raya, that the Gemara says that if you have a person who's a mudar hana, if you take a vow not to get any benefit from a person. So the Gemara brings in those days, if a person had a faribel, they were fighting with someone, they had a great weapon, that was a neder. You take a vow and you say, I'm not going to get any benefit from you. So what happens if that person is the Baal Tokeya, comes Rosh Hashanah, he's the person who's blowing shofar? Can you be yotze your mitzvah if you took a vow not to get any benefit from him? Gemara holds you can be yotze your mitzvah because mitzvahs lav lehenas nitnu. Mitzvahs were given as a duty, they were not given for personal enjoyment. But one of the Rishonim brings that the exception to this is limud haTorah. You could not hear a shiur from that person, and you could not borrow their svarim, because it's true we say mitzvahs lav lehenas nitnu, but that is chutz mit Talmud Torah, because Talmud Torah, the mitzvah of learning Torah, is the geschmack, the enjoyment is part of the mitzvah itself. It's a part of the Geder HaMitzvah, and you see that it's a halachic concept. That's what he pointed out from this Gemara. It's not just a vort, it's a halachic concept which is brought from the Geder, and this concept in Torah is well known in the Hakdom of the Gleital and others who bring that it is part of the very definition of it. And that, friends, is what we are celebrating here tonight. To the young men who being Messiah, who are completing and making a siyum tonight, we pay tribute to you, not just because you're making the siyum, because we've had siyumim in this community. Baruch Hashem, we've had siyum Hashas, we've had siyum of Mishnah Brura, we've had many siyumim in this community. But when young men who come forward and devote themselves to the learning of Torah, and do so with a commitment to the Mesikus HaTorah, to the sweetness of it, to the sense of Mesukim Midvash, that it's the learning of Torah that should be done with enjoyment and with an appreciation for the joy and the sweetness of the learning. That is something which is Ma'al Ma'aver. That's something which goes beyond. And it goes to the heart of living as a Jew with joy. That we aren't here just to survive and get through the day and say, oi, look how many responsibilities we all carry. Look at what we have to do. Look at all the hard work. Or as Rav Moshe Feinstein Zatzal famously said, that we lost a whole generation of Jews because of that phrase, it's so hard. It is not. It's a joy, it's a privilege. Ashreinu matov chelkeinu, ma'neim graleinu. That is what we are celebrating tonight. And we are celebrating the pasuk of where David HaMelech says, Lulei sarascha shashuai azavadati bi'oni, were it not for your Torah, which is my delight, I would have been lost in my afflictions. That is what David HaMelech said, and I have such distinct memories of my Rosh Hashiva Zatzal singing that pasuk with a nigun that he was makabel from Tel, that on Purim night, singing it over and over and over, Lulei sarascha. Were it not for your Torah, which is my delight, I would have been lost in my affliction. So says David HaMelech. It is Torah that lifts us up. It's not just another chore. What tonight is about, and what these young men are teaching us tonight, and what the Vhaarev program stands for, is to say that we don't just learn Torah at the end of the day because this is another to-do on another item on our to-do list. We have to do it. This is a chiyuv. We have got Talmud Torah, Keneged Kulam, and we'll carry it, and we'll have to do it, and we'll have to do it by Hasmoda, and they're going to ask you, and based in Shomala, Kabati Tim the Torah, and we're going to carry it around like this heavy burden. No. Lulei Sarascha, it's not the extra to do on the day. It's the thing in the day that helps us carry everything else. How else can we carry the rest of what we have to do in this world, were it not for the delight which is Hashem's Torah? And that is what tonight is about. It is a celebration of Koved HaTorah and Kesed Torah for sure. But even more than that, it is a celebration of Simchas HaTorah. And that is the joy, and that is the confidence in the future, and that is what makes tonight the night that fills our hearts with joy. So boys, thank you. To your Rabbeim, thank you. To Achim, thank you. To Rabbi Newman, thank you. To this beautiful community, thank you all for the inspiration tonight. And let us go forward with this celebration and say ultimate thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the ultimate Nosein HaTorah, because without His Torah, what would we have in life? Lulei Sarascha Hashem. Hashem, were not for your Torah, which is our delight, where would we be in life? And so we give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we wish Boys, may you Messiah many Masechtas, may you Messiah all of Shas, may you grow up to be Talmidei Chachamim with Yirei Shemayim and Midas Tovas to make a contribution to this community, and may our community grow in its Torah learning and Simchas HaTorah Mechayil El Chayil, from strength to strength. God bless you and thank you.